Welcome back, dear students. Today, we are going to take up a new chapter, chapter number 10, Respiration in Living Organisms. Respiration is one of the most important life processes that is performed by the living organisms. In this process, the food components that is obtained by the body is broken down into simpler form by the help of enzymes inside the cell to obtain energy. This respiration process is performed by different organisms in different ways. So let us see what are the types of this respiration. The first type of respiration is known as anaerobic respiration. This type of respiration is performed by the unicellular organisms. In this process of respirations, the food particles are broken down in the absence of oxygen to form alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. So let us see in the form of chemical reactions what are the things used and what are the substances formed during this reaction. So here, during this process of anaerobic respiration, the glucose, the food component that is going to be broken down to produce energy is the carbohydrate. Glucose is one form of carbohydrate that is utilized by the body of the living organisms for obtaining energy. So this glucose, in the absence of oxygen, it is broken down inside the cell of the organism to form alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. The energy that is produced here, it is utilized by the living organisms to perform different other life processes. The amount of energy that is produced here during this anaerobic respiration is in a very less amount. So this is one type of respiration. Now let us see the second type of respiration. The second type of respiration is known as aerobic respiration. This is generally performed by the multicellular organisms including plants and animals. The aerobic respiration, in it, the glucose molecules is broken down in the presence of oxygen. When this glucose and oxygen combines together inside the living cells, then it is broken down to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy. The amount of energy that is produced during this process of aerobic respiration is much more larger than the amount that is produced in case of the anaerobic respiration. So now let us see the third type of respiration. The third type of respiration is known as the partial respiration. It is performed only in some certain situations inside the muscle cells of the animals. This type of respiration is not performed by the plant. The partial respiration is the one in which the glucose molecule is broken down in the limited amount of oxygen. Limited amount of oxygen means in the presence of very small amount of oxygen. During this time, the glucose molecules are broken down to form lactic acid and energy. The lactic acid got collected inside the muscle cells, and the presence of this lactic acid in the muscle cells causes muscle pain. This lactic acid, afterwards, it will be broken down when sufficient amount of oxygen is received by the muscle cells. So this lactic acid, in the presence of sufficient amount of oxygen, will be again broken down to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy back again. So when the amount of lactic acid present inside the muscle cells got over, at that time we will get relief from the muscle pain. The process of respiration involves two different stages. The stages involved in the process of respiration are: number one, breathing and or external respiration, and the second one is known as the cellular respiration or internal respiration. So let us see what is this breathing and what is this cellular respiration one by one. Breathing. It is a physical process in which the exchange of gases takes place. During this breathing process, we used to take in the oxygen which is needed for respiration and breathe out the carbon dioxide which is produced during the process of respiration. While the cellular respiration is a chemical process in which the component of the food, that is the glucose, is broken down into simpler form and energy is produced. So these two processes are the different stages that are involved in the process of respiration. Now let us see the process of breathing or cellular respiration in details. So let us see the process of breathing that takes place inside the body of a human being. The human being performs this breathing process by the help of its organ system known as respiratory system. The respiratory system includes the nasal passages, that is the nose, nostril, the passages inside the nose. Second one, this part which is connecting with the nasal passages, it is known as the pharynx. The pharynx is again connected with the box which we call it as the voice box. In another word, we call it as the larynx. Under the larynx, there is presence of a tube-like structure which is made up of small rings made up of cartilage. This part is known as the trachea. The trachea is divided into two branches. Each branches will enter in one of the lungs. This branch is known as the bronchi. Inside the lungs, the bronchi is again divided into small branches. These branches are known as bronchioles. At the tip of this bronchioles, there will be presence of a bag-like structure, a sac-like structure. The sac-like structure is known as alveoli or alveolar sac. The alveoli or the alveolar sac are connected with the blood vessels. Inside this, the exchange of the gases actually takes place. The blood, which contains carbon dioxide, will be drawn by one of the blood vessels to the alveolar sac. Inside it, the carbon dioxide present in the blood will be removed out and it will be exhaled out of the body. While the oxygen that we inhale it will be mixed with the blood from which the carbon dioxide has been taken out. Then, the oxygen containing blood will be taken from the lungs to the heart. Inside the heart, the blood will be collected and it will be again pushed to circulate all over the body. Now let us see what used to happen during the process of breathing in our chest cavity. The respiratory system is present in the chest cavity of the human body. The chest cavity is separated with the abdomen cavity by the help of a very thin membrane known as diaphragm. This thin membrane will be just like a thin layer of stress balloon. During the process of inhalation, in which the air is taken inside, the chest cavity used to increase its volume by moving the chest upward and outward, while the diaphragm will be moving down. But during the exhalation, when we release out air out of our body, at that time, the chest cavity volume decreases. During that time, the chest will move inward and downward, while the diaphragm will move upward. So this is the changes that used to happen in our chest cavity during the inhalation and the exhalation. So one inhalation and one exhalation makes one breath. The number of breaths that we take during 1 minute, we call it as breathing rate. So a normal adult used to have a fixed breathing rate, a range of breathing rate, which we consider it as a normal breathing rate of a person. So for an adult, when they are at rest, the normal breathing rate is between 15 to 18 times. Means they will take in the breath and exhale out. Together combining one breath, there will be total of 15 to 18 times. Okay. So this 15 to 18 times is the normal breathing rate for an adult which are at rest. Rest means while we are not doing any work, while we are resting. So this is about the breathing process. Now let us see the process of breathing that is done by other living organisms other than human beings. The first one is unicellular organism. Unicellular organisms are the ones which are made up of only one cell. The unicellular organisms' body are in contact with the surrounding environment. Because of that, the unicellular organisms like amoeba or hydra, they used to take in or they used to perform the exchange of gases by the help of a process known as diffusion. Insects like grasshopper or cockroach, they used to perform the breathing process by the help of small holes that is present all over their body. This hole is known as spiracles. The movement of the muscles used to contract or expand these spiracles and they used to perform the breathing process. Next one, aquatic animals. Aquatic animals, as we know, they are the animals which live in water. These aquatic animals perform the breathing process by the help of an organ known as gills. But the aquatic animals like dolphin or whales, they doesn't have these gills. Instead of that, they used to have an opening on the head portion, which is known as blowhole. This blowhole used to help in performing the process of breathing, and inside these animals like dolphin and that of the whale, there is no presence of gills. Instead of that, they used to have lungs. Next one, earthworm. The earthworm used to respire by the help of their moist skin. Next animal is amphibians. Amphibians are the animals which can live both on land as well as water. These amphibians, when they are on land, they used to respire by the help of lungs. And when they are in water, they used to respire by the help of their moist skin. The plants also perform the process of respiration all the time, not only during the daytime. The photosynthesis process performed by the plants takes place only during the daytime when there is sunlight. But the process of respiration is performed by the plant day and night. The plants used to perform the breathing process or the exchange of gas by the help of stomata generally. Stomata are the small pores that are present on the surface of the lip. In some cases, they also perform the exchange of gases by the help of lenticels. Lenticels are the small holes that are present on the surface of the old stem. Sometimes they also used to perform the breathing process or the exchange of gases by the surface of the root. The surface of the root also used to perform the exchange of gas. So this is how the other organism used to perform the exchange of gas. So this is the end of the chapter. So we are going to wind up here for today. In the next class, we will come across a new chapter. Thank you, dear students.